We are writers and directors and creators, and we are going to be teaching you guys everything we've learned from working with, amazing celebrities like Mark Ruffalo, Mackie, Lindsay Sterling, Coldplay, as well as amazing brands like Smashbox Cosmetics, Addias, Chrome Hearts, and we're just really excited to, hear what you guys want to learn and, to connect with you guys and take your work to the next level.
Hey you guys, so how many years have you been in the filmmaking business?
Well, I graduated from film school in 2000 at New York University.
Okay.
And so, 2 years before, and ever since then.
I got my Master's of Fine Arts, and then from that I taught at the top schools in New York, at Parsons New School and the Academy of Art in San Francisco and New York Institute of Technology, and then we started writing and directing together.
Bayou, you've been an instructor at so many amazing places. Mm-hmm. So what's kind of your secret sauce? What do you do when you want to bring a new student up to speed rapidly?
Just recognizing that you can make a living at it. I think that's so important, because a lot of, students that I got, they would say, oh, I'll do this for a hobby or, on the side. I'm like, no, you can actually do this for a living,
So you're really pushing them to be professional at it.
Yes.
I think be professional at anything you're doing. Yeah. And I think, in terms of being a great filmmaker, I think you have to know everything. You got this boom right here, you know what I mean? You gotta be able to tilt it down just a little bit more to get the perfect sound. You gotta be able to frame a shot. You gotta know the different camera settings. You gotta know how to edit. And because you know all the different elements that make this grand picture, that makes you in control.
So what we want to do is explore. You guys are coming on board with AYP as coaches, which is fantastic for you guys out there who want to improve your filmmaking. Let's dive in. Let's get into the secret sauce. So you guys can each answer this, but what are some of the key things that you use in your filmmaking toolkit?
Cinematography-wise, I will really think about lens choice, you know what I mean?
Give me some examples.
I think you really want to, I always tell young cinematographers, you want to do two things. You want to see the world in your own unique way that's differentiated and interesting, and the lenses have a huge amount to do with that, as well as angles. So you really want to work your angles and your lenses. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to really think about how's the cinematography and the camera communicating the story in the most interesting way. You know what I mean? Because cinematography can't just be so amazing and interesting that it has nothing to do with the story. They really have to go hand in hand. Yeah. So you really got to analyze the story and just think, okay, how is the cinematography going to help the story develop? You know what I mean? For example, if it's a kid's point of view, then clearly you should be looking up at things. You know what I mean?
Get that viewpoint.
Viewpoint. Whose perspective is it, cinematography-wise? I think is really important. You know what I mean? If it's a dog or a kid, or you know what I mean? If it's God, then you drone looking down at things. Yeah, so it's you really got to go inside of the story with the camera. Right.
I cover those points in my book, Advancing Your Photography.
Cool.
Camera angles are such a huge factor that a lot of people go around and only shoot like this. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's just one viewpoint.
Totally.
And I think one of the key things is knowing, as you said, what is the right viewpoint for this shot.
Yeah, and I also think in terms of making an interesting edit, it's really important to tilt down from things and pan off of things.
That's a secret sauce. He shot Bella Hadid, and recently she said it was the best. She's the top model. You'll see in every magazine. Her and her sister, Gigi Bella in the magazine. And she told him that was my favorite fashion video I've ever had shot of me.
I just think it's really important to make edits interesting, that you don't just shoot like this. Yeah. And then like this. And then like this. I might start here, Bayou's got this really interesting hands and rings, and then I'd come up in here and I'd, look at all the texture in here and look at these really interesting colors, and then I'd come up to her face, Then it's you're discovering your subject through cinematography, as opposed to just
Right.
And this makes for really bad material in edit, if everything's just static. Yeah. I love camera movement. I think camera movement makes things so exciting. Yeah, so I think a lot of camera movement is interesting.
Oh, that's great.
Whether it's handheld, whether it's dolly, whether it's Ronin, doesn't matter. As long as there's camera movement, I think it's cool. Right. But at the same time, if it's just a scene in a jail cell, I wouldn't be moving the camera. I would just be the staticness would help tell that story, because it's just there is no movement in that situation. You're trapped in, you know what I mean? Yeah. So again, it's got to always work with the story.
So in terms of those nuts and bolts things, give me a few of your tips, Daniel.
Well, for me, really, it's knowing the equipment, but knowing what you want to say. I think if you're really clear on what you actually want to say with the particular piece that you're working on, then everything else is going to go well. I've been to film festivals where you see a film that costs so much money and so many people worked on it, but at the end of it, you're like, what was that about?
What was the message there, right?
Yeah, I think that's the worst thing. So you got to really know your equipment, but you got to know what you want to say above all. And I think you got to be original. That's kind of my take on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I'm doing a lot of especially in documentary, I do a lot of the questions and then work with the talent and even on music videos and that type of thing and short films and eventually feature. But what it is I talk to them before and then the talent. Yeah, the talent. Yeah. I talk to the talent before and I get them comfortable and we talk and we talk and we talk and then finally the camera comes and we just keep talking like we were before and they don't even know the camera's there.
Absolutely.
And that makes them comfortable. That gets the jitters out of the way. And then we usually the first few questions will be a little nerve-wracking. So I'll say, you know what, we'll go back to it. So then they relax. They're like, oh, good, we can go back to it. And then I let them know little things like, oh, we're shooting from here to here or here to here. I let them see the shot so that they don't feel so nervous. Like, what is this weird camera and what am I what do I look like? And I give them little tips on which I'll share later on how to look the best they can in front of the camera. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. Are there any myths you guys would like to dispel?
As a filmmaker, you have to know how to sell yourself. Like you cannot, and it has to do with branding and marketing and promoting yourself. Yes, on social media, and it's not bragging. If you've gotten into a film festival, you promote that like crazy. You get in the top newspapers you can. You promote, and that is business. Yeah. It's not bragging. I have to get that out of a lot of artists' heads.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So you guys are going to be teaching, right?
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that you out there, you guys listening, watching this, are giving them your questions and your feedback, because then you guys can take that up in your next video or answer them in the comments, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really interested in cutting out the time that it takes to become great.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this for 20 years, but I've had to go through the school of hard knocks, you know what I mean? But I'm basically going to be, we're going to be taking having worked for the top people in the world and kind of teaching you guys, not teaching, just kind of inspiring you guys through having worked with some of the, top Oscar nominated actors and top musicians in the world and top people in the fashion industry and top people in the movie industry.
Yeah, Betsy Johnson, Carolina Herrera,
Yeah, we're just going to basically show you what we know so that you guys can make your own work to the level where you want it to be.
Beautiful. The interesting thing about cinematography is it's 24 frames a second, so it's really 24 photographic shots, and we still say director of photography. So I'm imagining a lot of the things you're talking about are applicable to still photographers as well.
The basis of everything is photography anyways, you know what I mean?
It is.
And I think people really need, as another tip, I think people need to take the foundation of photography and apply it to filmmaking and cinematography, because in photography, you're so aware of composition and what that frame is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And there's so much time and thought that goes into that perfect frame, that perfect composition. That really needs to be the same attitude you have in cinematography, and don't accept anything less.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of our channel is, it's called Advancing Your Photography, because it's always an advancement. You're always moving your skill level and learning stuff and improving it. And I think the key thing is what we covered here is interaction. So as much as we can kind of emulate a live teaching environment, we want to do that and have the viewers out there really contribute back and make sure they're asking the right questions and really getting at the heart of what they want to know about.
Yeah, we really look forward, right? To hearing what you guys want to learn.
Yeah, we love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this is fantastic. Any final tips you want to leave these guys with?
Last thing I want to say is just develop, think about your own unique voice. What do you want to say? Because every person is coming with their own experience to the present. They've been through things that nobody else has been through. They've seen things that nobody else has seen. They've dreamt about things nobody else has dreamt about. That makes you unique.
Yes.
So focus on what makes your voice and your vision unique, because you don't want to be the same as this filmmaker. You want to tell your own differentiated story, or as a photographer, you want to show the world in your own differentiated, unique way. you know, like Ansel Adams, I know you love him.
Yeah.
You know, he sees the world as Ansel Adams, you know, and it's recognizable, and that has a place in the marketplace, you know. So you need to develop your own voice.
Brilliant. Well, thank you guys for joining us today, and in the future, you guys make sure that you subscribe so you can follow along all their videos that are coming our way. Hit that like button, and remember to leave your comments. And remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Thanks again, you guys.
You got it, Mark. Thank you, Mark.